Hello students, welcome to my classroom to another session of some math. And in this video, we are going to talk about the concept of absolute value functions. So that's the name of the function, and how we basically write the function is going to be like this: y equals absolute value of x. Now, before we actually start the concept, I would like for you to understand the meaning of absolute value. Now, absolute value is the distance of a number from 0 on a number line. So that means we can have, for absolute value of -5 is, now because absolute value is a distance, so how far is -5 from 0? It is 5 steps away, correct? And how far is +5 from 0? It is 5 steps away. So for both of the numbers, our answer is 5. So in order to understand absolute value, always remember your answer for absolute value whenever you're solving the bars. These are the two bars that you're seeing here. The answer will always be positive. So the confusion that happens with students usually is that they think that, okay, the positive is going to give me a negative answer and negative gives me a positive answer. Please remember, no matter what, absolute value is a really positive person, and he always takes things in very positive perspective. So the answer will always be positive. All right, now let us take a look at notation of the function. How do we actually write it in fancy math language? As I always share with you that they like to keep math fancy, rather than like using just basic simple English words, they like to use very fancy words. So one of the ways is like I wrote up there, is absolute value of x. Another way to write, and you can see on calculators, is ABS, which is absolute value of x, is how you write it. Now, with that taken care of, on the next slide, I'm going to actually do a function with you and draw an absolute value function with you, and then we'll check our work. So let us pick this color and our parent function, because we are going to make changes to the parent function to have many, many more functions. So let us start with the parent function. I'll pull the line feature up so I can actually draw the graph as well. So on the right hand side, we'll have the graph going. And on the left hand side, we'll have our input output values going. All right. Oops, I'm still on the line feature, I think. Let's see. X and Y. So the numbers that we can pick are a couple of numbers that will give us a good idea about the graph. All right, so what we do is we actually plug it in. Absolute value of 0 is 0. So now we can plot 0, 0 is one of our points on the graph. Now absolute value of -1. Because our x is -1, it will go actually into the function. And the absolute value of -1 is 1. Absolute value of -2. You remember, the answer will always be positive, 2. -1 and 1. -1 of x, 1 of y. Maybe somewhere here. Remember, the drawings are not drawn to scale here, because I don't have a graph paper deal going here, but you know what I mean. All right, next is -2 and +2. So -2 of x and 2 of y. All right, +1. Absolute value of +1. Remember, I'll get a positive answer. 1. 1 and 1 somewhere here maybe. All right, 2. Absolute value of +2 is 2 itself. So +2 and 2 maybe somewhere here. All right, now let us go ahead and join these lines that we got. Remember, we have two pieces of the function. That is why it's also called a piecewise function. So these are the two pieces going here. And on this piecewise function, basically what is happening is that our graph is ranging from infinity to 0. Sorry, -infinity to 0. And then 0 to positive infinity, because the x values are increasing as we keep on adding more. So these are the range. This is the range of our graph that is happening. All right, with that taken care of, let us take a look at the function if it's graphed on Desmos. So I have Desmos already ready for you over here. And the absolute value function key is this one. So I click on absolute value. And there is my keyboard. I put absolute value. So it should give me the bars. Let me check here. And I should have the absolute value of x. And as you can see, I'm not even done writing my graph, and it has given me the graph for it. So let us close this, and you can take a look at your graph better here. And as you can see, all your x values are ranging from sorry about that. So let's take a look at our graph. So basically all the y values are positive, and that is why our graph is ranging between all these positive values. All right, with that taken care of, we will move back to our screen where we were learning the concept. Remember, you can always apply Desmos, but you really need to understand the transformations as our last concept in this video. And I think I messed up. All right. So with that taken care of, we are moving back to our note-taking process. And in our note-taking process, we are going to clear this off. All right, so let's clear this off, and we are going to have the transformations. That's our next concept under absolute value itself. Transformations of absolute value functions. All right, so basically what transformations of absolute value functions is going to be is that we are going to take a look at there are only four ways in which your function is going to move. It's either going to move up or down, or left and right. So there's either going to be a vertical shift or horizontal shift. Horizontal left, horizontal right, which will happen on x-axis, and vertical up and down will happen on y-axis. So we are going to write down vertical. Up will be whenever you're adding a number outside the absolute value bars where c is a number. So that means if I have an example of absolute value of x plus 4, this will go 4 units up from the parent function. Next up, if I have vertical down, absolute value of x minus c. Now that's my function, but I'm subtracting a number from it. So c is a number, and then I can have an example, x absolute value of x minus 4. Our graph is going to come down. And we'll do more examples like these, on Desmos soon, so things should be better for you. Next is horizontal right. And horizontal right will be basically your own function, and then minus c. So what happens is it actually moves c units to the right, your function does. This will be down, this is up, this is right. And then let's take a look at horizontal left. And the left will be Okay, hold on. I just need to use an eraser here, and it is going to be absolute value of x minus c. It's inside the absolute value bars. This one will be plus c inside the absolute value bars. Remember, on the red one on vertical, I had the number outside the absolute value bars. Here, the number is going to be inside the absolute value bars whenever you want to move it around on x-axis. All right, at last, we will also have a reflecting graph. We can have the graph reflected about the x-axis whenever we just put a negative sign before the function. So these were the 5 types of transformations, or how we can make changes to the graph and see how your parent function changes. And I'm going to show you example of each one of them so things are clear to you. Remember, your graph actually can move up or down, left or right, depending on the numbers you're adding. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's come out of this and let's go to Desmos now. Now, when we go to Desmos, I just need to erase this. All right, when we go to Desmos, students, I'm going to make changes to this parent function only. So remember to take a look at your notes and what happens, how do we add a number? Let us say we add a 4 here. As you can see, the graph has moved 4 steps up. All right, now I'm going to do, the parent function comes back, I do a minus 4. The moment I do that, I am seeing the graph has gone down 4 points, correct? All right, that was your vertical up and down. Now we are going to move to horizontal up and down. In horizontal up and down, what we do is we actually make changes to the number inside the absolute value bars. So let us make those changes. The moment I did that, I didn't even close the bar yet, but it has graphed it for me. X plus 4, and then that's my function. It has moved to the left with a plus 4. Remember, it's like a negative. What happens, how I try to remember is that if it is x plus 4, what we tend to think is that it should move 4 right, because that's where the numbers are increasing on the number line to the right hand side. But here it's going to do opposite. Just a way to remember, you know. Minus 4, let's see what happens. It moved to the right hand side. So pretty opposite of what we were actually anticipating it to be. Now let us see if we want to do both the things. But before that, I really want to show you the negative also. So let's do negative. Now absolute value of x. The moment I do that, you can see that it has reflected about the x-axis. All right, now let us go back to our parent function, the original function we started with. They are called parent functions because all the new functions come out of them. Let us see, we had the parent function, we are doing minus. The moment I put a minus, the graph just goes away, but it won't go away. It has come back. Here it is. And then let us say I want to move it 4 units up. So the graph will be plus 5. So as you can see, they can give you any type of graph as long as you have Desmos. Desmos is going to really help you out on the function. So let us say, let's practice another one. They tell us, well, move your parent function 3 units to the right. So I'm going to do um, minus 3. They said 3 units to the right is what I'm going to move. And they're saying 4 units down. So I'll say minus 4. So the moment I do that, I get another graph. And there should be a way to change the color here also. Well, I think I'll have to learn that from one of my students. But the cool part is you can even look at the input-output table. You go to settings, and then you can take a look at the input-output table also for them. Anytime you don't want to see a graph, you can always click on this and the graph will be gone. You click back on this, the graph comes up. So remember, your input-output table is always on the settings. When you're done with that, you can close this. You're on the, come here, and again on the settings, you tell that, well, I want to see the table for this one. So you can see the input-output table for everything. It actually shows you all the work. All right, let's come back. And that's what our graph was. So let's do y equals another one, negative. This should be our last one. See, the moment we did negative, it has shown me a graph with a different color. And then if I want to do it plus 1, it goes up 1. So just showing you some examples of absolute value functions. Remember, absolute value are very positive. There's something to learn from them. They have a very positive perspective of life. So hope you're also very positive about, the upcoming AZMerit test, and be like absolute value functions. Be positive. And I will see you in my next video. Hopefully this was some learning session for you. And thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And I guess I'll see you in my next video. Bye.